So welcome to Moneywise Learning for Teens. We are on session 5 of our 12-week webinar series on financial education. We think that school teaches you a lot of great things, but you also need to learn how to handle money and be money smart before you're ready to become an adult. We want to bridge that gap here, and we want to teach you more about finances and about educating yourself. So when you go to college, when you launch your career, when you start your business or even start a family, you are ready to go, and you know how to manage money well. At the end of the day, I believe strongly that it's how you can manage your money that determines how much money you're going to have and how successful you are financially. Some house rules, as always, please ask questions in the Q&A box. You'll find the Q&A box. It's not the chat box. It's just easier to track questions in the Q&A box. Also, no chatting, spamming, trolling. If folks are disturbing others, then I'm going to block everybody from talking to each other. I've had to do this a few times, so please follow the rules so we can proceed without any interruptions. If someone's being very disruptive, I'm going to remove them from the webinar, and I've had to do that before, so please don't do that, okay? Let's keep playing nicely so everybody can talk to each other and still have a fun time. Otherwise, we will get to the questions at the end of each discussion. And today I'm excited because we have a guest speaker. Renee Lane is with us. And what are we going to talk about? So we're going to talk about how you can build your credit scores, and you learn what credit scores are today. And this is super important, guys. So pay attention to Renee, and she is awesome. And I want to talk a little bit about her today as well before I hand it off to her. So you guys know me and Anar. Anar is my partner, and she does the webinars for the ages 5 to 10. And I'm Kavitha, and I do the webinars for 11 to 18. Sorry. I'm an entrepreneur and a real estate investor and a realtor, and I own the company called Cherry Street Investments. Today, our guest speaker, I'm super excited to bring here Renee. Renee, you want to say hi?
Hi, everybody. I didn't mute myself, but I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here, Renee. So a little bit about our guest speaker, Renee. So she started her credit consultation business in 2018 because a lot of people in her age group, she saw that there was an overwhelming need for fixing their credit or dealing with student loans, as the case might have been. So her business has grown tremendously since then, and she has 107 consultants. She has found that most of the problems having consulted and personally consulted a lot of people, she's found that a lot of problems stem from a lack of education on the topic of credit and financial literacy. So since then, she's partnered with a lot of government employees to restore their credits so they can keep their employment. She's worked with car dealerships and realtors to qualify more people so they can get cars and buy houses. And she's also helped local nonprofits that are geared towards rehabilitating individuals and many college students to transition from student life to adult life, among other people. So her greatest passion is mentoring and educating others on becoming consultants as well. So I'm excited to have Renee on, and she's the perfect person to talk about this topic. So before we hand it off to Renee, I wanted to quickly ask you guys about the assignment last week and see if you got a chance to how many people got a chance to work on it. We talked about what kind of insurance policies are there and what kind of insurance policies your parents carry, and also what kind of premiums they pay, what kind of coverages do they have, did you go look at their policies? So I'll do a quick poll. I want to learn what is a consultant? Someone is asking. A consultant is someone who consults, like you have a problem and you come to me and say, hey, I have, let's say you're a credit consultant. You have a credit problem, you come to me and I say, okay, I can help you with your credit problems. So you consult with me. And Renee can talk more about it as well. So let me do a quick poll here. Please answer the poll. All right, almost there. I've got about 79% is voted. I'm still waiting for all the votes to trickle in. Okay, I think I'm going to run with this, what I have right now. 53% of the people said that they did the homework. 25% said that they did a little bit, and 23% said that they didn't do anything. So the 23% who didn't do anything, please look at what you need to do, because this is how you learn, right? Like I can teach you a lot of things here, but if you don't go back and do it, then it won't really help you that much. And when you come to get older, you'll be wondering what these things are. So it's good if you can learn right now. And a lot of people played the cash flow game. Still, a lot of people, 43% didn't get a chance to. So I hope you have more time so you get a chance to do that. All right, let's move on. Let's see. I want you to tell me what you learned. What are some of the lessons you learned from your assignment and or the game that you played, the cash flow game? You can type your questions in the chat box. What? Oh, a poll, like a POLL, not POLE. The poll is just a pop-up that you got, which was asking you whether you did the homework or didn't do the homework. There are many types of insurance. Okay, what did you learn about the different insurance? What kind of insurance do your parents carry? Anybody? Auto, homeowners, that's right. Yeah, State Farm. Okay, State Farm is a company that does insurance. We have learned there are many different types of insurance. That's right. Health, it covers, then you have car, house. We have Anthem, Blue Cross, Blue Shield for medical. Okay, that's great. Life. Okay, what kind of life insurance do your parents carry? Get more assets and liabilities. Yeah, that was the two classes I had, but Deepika, thank you. Right, Ajani. Yeah, that's right. You have a health issue, so you have to pay for a lot of medical supplies. So health insurance is really essential. I learned, this is an interesting observation. I learned what premiums and coverages are. The game is super helpful and relates to real world stuff. That's right. Disability insurance. Okay, that's interesting. So Urjit, how do your parents carry disability insurance? Is that through work? Renters and umbrella insurance. That's right. Okay. Car, health, homeowners, life. Insurance helps you keep your assets. That's right. It helps you protect your assets. Shubhansh is mom. Okay, got it. Shubhansh. Sorry. Auto insurance, PUP. Okay, so you learned about umbrella protection as well. Okay. Yeah, Ujit, most people have disability insurance through their workplace. Their employers automatically enroll them in short-term and long-term disability. Liability insurance is also necessary. That's right. All good observations. So let's keep moving. So today's lesson is building your credit. And with that, I want to hand it over to Renee.
Okay,
Take
thank
it
you.
away, Renee.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I've got a presentation for you guys today. Okay. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yep, I can.
Okay, great, great, great. So thank you so much for having me, you guys. I'm so excited. I'm very passionate about education. And so that's why I'm here. Like she mentioned, my name is Renee Lane and I'm a credit consultant. All that means is when people need a little education or advice on how to maximize their credit, they come to me and I help them. So today I'm gonna teach you about credit and how to get it. But first, you kind of need to know how to build it. There's a formula to it. Before we dive in, we're going to jump into some vocabulary terms that you may want to take notes on. You may know some of these, you may not, but they are important to know. So let's jump in. First word on the list is consumer. Consumer is a person that purchases goods and services for personal use. So drop a 1 in the box if you believe you are a consumer. Now, if you ever bought anything, you are a consumer, my friend, okay? Now let's move on to the next one. The next word is lender. A lender is a person or entity issuing the loan or credit. Okay, so a lender can even be a bank or a friend. Oh, you can even be a lender, okay? The next word is credit, what we're all here for, right? So the credit is the trust in which one party provides money or resources for payment at a later date. I really want to emphasize the word trust here. So in your brain, I want you to correlate credit with trust, okay? Mash them together. Now, typically, credit comes in the form of a card called a credit card. As long as you pay, you can use it over and over, whether you have the cash or not. Because you built trust with the lender, they're going to allow you to do that, pay them at a later date. Now, the next term we have here is credit score. I'm sure you guys heard this around on commercials or whatnot. Credit score is basically a number that reflects your measurement of credit risk. So if you think of the word risk, it's the opposite of trust. So it's whether they can trust you or if you're risky, it's gonna, you know, basically apply a grade to you in a number form. Now, there are 5 factors that go into creating this score that we'll jump into here shortly, which will, you know, make sure that you maximize that score. Credit bureau is our next term. Credit bureau is a private company that provides lenders with your credit score based on information reported to them. There are 3 major credit bureaus, and their names are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. All 3 companies don't work together. They're all separate companies, and they just kind of follow the same business pattern. Now, so basically, when you apply for a credit or a loan, the lender will pull your score from one of those 3 main credit bureaus that I mentioned, whichever one they're partnered with, whichever one they've built a business relationship, and they'll use that score to determine your terms of the loan or the credit.
Hey, Renee, there is a pop-up box which is blocking some of the text, at least for me. Can you remove it?
Let me get back there.
Okay.
Sorry. There you go. Okay, do I need to go back?
Yeah, it's gone now. Because we couldn't see some of it from the last box. I just wanted to make sure they all can see everything.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I'll stand here for a minute just in case anybody wants to copy this down, or a few seconds. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Okay, look at this beautiful picture. You'll see these in the future. This is your credit score factors listed, and then here is a rainbow of our credit scores. You have 5 factors contributing to your credit scores. You've got payment history, amounts owed, length of credit history, new credit, and types of credit used. These factors will either add or take away points, which will produce your credit score. Your credit scores can range from 300 all the way to 850. 300 being very bad to 850 at excellent. Your goal is to achieve excellent credit, and I'll tell you why here shortly. Go ahead and take a note at where these markers are. You want to see where, and actually, yeah, about 580 to 650 is considered bad credit. Actually, we're going to go into these numbers a little further in here, so you don't have to take note of this yet, because I have a screen that's way better. Let's move on. Here we go. Okay, Credit score versus your report card. I kind of want to give you something that you can compare it to. If you make an A on all of your assignments through the school year, at the end of the year, you're going to have an A, right? Now let's say and that's a perfect score. Can't go any higher. Now, but what if you have a weakness in another subject area and you don't make an A? So it's possible that you'll get lower than that A, and it can hinder your overall grade. You may not have that 100%, but you may have like an 89. So that definitely affected your perfect score. So as we go into those factors later, I just want you to be aware that everything combined is going to contribute to the score. Now, credit reports, they work the same way like grades. They have all of your accounts listed, and determining on how responsible you were at keeping the agreement every month, you are issued a score or a grade in number form. Okay, so I'm going to start at the bottom of this. 300 to 580 is considered bad credit. I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. Good luck qualifying for a loan or a credit card. It's very difficult, virtually impossible. Now, let's say you have a 580 score to 640, still considered poor credit. You will not qualify for loans or credit cards from all lenders and may have a tough time getting approved. Companies that will work with you will charge very high interest rates or require significant collateral. The interest rate is what you're paying to borrow the money. So you're paying the bank money to borrow money. So you don't want to end up with a high interest rate because you may possibly be paying double for the product that you're wanting the loan for. 640 to 700 is considered average credit. You may qualify for a loan or credit card, but not at the best interest rates. Remember, we always got to consider the interest rate. You will likely pay an excessive amount of interest. 700 to 750 is considered good credit. You're in the green, guys. You would qualify for one of the lower rates available, and you really shouldn't have any problem getting any type of loan you want. Now, 750 to 850 is considered excellent credit, also exceptional credit. You should qualify for the best and lowest interest rates and most flexible terms and conditions. Like literally, guys, at this point, you are turning away cars and credit cards and saying, no, I already have some, I don't need those. So where do you want to fall on this list here? Excellent credit, right? Excellent credit. Okay, I'm going to say that 25.
Where do kids start when they start? Let's say if any of the kids, we use the social and pull up their credit, where do they start?
We actually, there are a lot of programs and maybe like a secured card or other ways to start building credit. And I'm going to jump into that too. But first you got to develop the habits, and then you can actually convert over, because a lot of banks, they won't issue a card to minors. Some, some, definitely not a credit card. Some may allow a bank account like at the age of 13. And that's a way you can start creating positive spending habits, which you're going to convert into your credit. And I'll get into that as well.
And there's a question about what is collateral.
And then collateral, let's say you need a loan for something, but your credit isn't well. So they're going to say, well, what else do you have? You don't have a great track record at making payments on stuff. Do you have maybe a car? Do you have a house that you can sign over a deed until you pay us back? And you definitely don't want to have to do that.
So it's basically a guarantee, guys, for those who can understand collateral. It's a guarantee that you'll pay the loan back. If they hold something of yours, as a guarantee.
Yeah, like I don't know if your teachers ever did this, but for mine, if you weren't prepared and you didn't have your pencil, she would say, okay, I've got a pencil for you, but you got to give me your shoe. And so it's going to remind you to bring your pencil or give her pencil back instead of putting it in your backpack, because you won't have a shoe. So it's kind of that type of holding your hand thing. Alrighty, great questions. So I also want you guys to understand how your score is calculated. If you're a numbers person, this is right up your alley, okay? So let me go ahead and jump in there. I've got a lot of great a lot of great notes for this one. So the first one is the consumer's payment history weighs 35%. Okay, imagine a pie. 35% of that is more than a third of it. So that's the heaviest. Payment history is the most important factor as it weighs the heaviest in this chart at 35%. Payment history is your ability to make your payments on time. So if you make an agreement with the lender, like give me, this loan or this credit, I can make a payment every month on the 15th. That's an agreement you made with the lender. Once you stick to that agreement, you're going to build trust with the lender. When you build trust with the lender, they're going to report positive marks to the credit bureaus on you. And that's going to increase your credit score. After 6 months of on-time payments, you automatically get a credit increase. And that's how you build credit. That's the best way because that's the heaviest factor. Now, the second heaviest factor is your total amounts owed. Actually, before I move on, does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. And feel free to write them down and I can answer any at the end. The next factor in your credit score is total amounts owed by the consumer. Remember, guys, we are consumers. The amounts owed weighs 30%. So basically, lenders want to see if you're using up the available credit or being responsible. So if I give you a credit card and it has $100 available for you to spend, are you going to go and charge it up right away, or are you going to keep within the guidelines for maintaining healthy credit and only use what you need? Now, we do, so that's what they're looking for. Are you being responsible with it? The responsible amount is to keep below 30% of your available credit. So you always want to keep your balances below 30%. So if you have that $100 credit card, never spend more than $30. And then you just want to keep paying it. Making those payments is building that credit, that payment history, as in the first one discussed. Now, 30%, I do want to also note that 30% is the max. And I would say that about 7% utilization is excellent. Now, credit history. The length of the consumer's credit history weighs about 15% of your credit. So longer credit history will increase your score. They want to know, okay, great, you can make payments on time, but for how long? Can you do it for just 3 months at a time? Can you do a year? Can you do 2 years? The longer the credit history, the better. So when you open a new account, I want you to have the intention of keeping it long term. A lot of people don't know this, but closing an account actually hurts your credit. So when you do open an account, just know, like, this is my account forever, and I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to be responsible. So types of credit used by consumer is 10%. It is recommended to have a mix of accounts. Now, what do I mean by that? There are 2 types of accounts that were used basically for building credit. It's called revolving and it's called installment. Revolving accounts consist of credit cards because you can use them over and over. There's no end as long as you're paying them, right? Just like a revolving door. Have you ever been to Cheddar's? They've got that door that you got to push through and it just goes around. So that's a revolving account. You've, credit card. Now, the other account that I just talked about is called installment accounts. Those are accounts that actually have an end date. Once you pay it off, it's done. So like a car note or a mortgage, there's actually a certain amount, and once you pay it off, it's done and it ends. Being able to manage both of those appears very responsible to their credit bureau, so that also gives you, an extra bonus. Now, amount of the consumer's new credit, that weighs at 10%. Now, every time you apply for a new credit account or a loan, your personal credit scores get a ding. Every time you use your credit, because you're using your social security number to pull your credit. So every time that's used, you get a ding. It's called a hard pull. and it lowers your score a bit. So if you're going to open a new credit, do it with the intent of long term and building it up to where that little ding is harmless, harmless to your score, because the benefit of building your credit is going to outweigh that little harmful effect. When you actually apply for a lot of new credit cards in a brief amount of time or a short amount of time, you kind of appear desperate to the lenders. They want to know, like, oh my God, what's going on? Why is she so desperate? Why does she need all this money? And that's a red flag. They don't want to loan you that. So, you just want to be responsible with this. And we're not desperate, guys. We're cool as cucumbers, right? We don't need to do that. So we're going to plan this out. Okay. Now that you have the formula, which is this, I'm sure you're all ready to take over the world now, huh? No, not yet. I'm kidding. So you're probably wondering, what can I do now? Well, I'm going to tell you guys. So let's jump over to the next screen. This is the screen. Oh, my kid said y'all like graphics, so plan and execute. Plan and execute. Okay, so to build credit, you need to be making payments towards something, right? Payment history, biggest factor. To make payments, you will need income. So first step is to generate an income. If you're under 16, you can't get a job, you can always create a list of services that you're willing to provide for a fee, not free, for a fee, okay? Because you need to generate some income. The goal is to generate income on a monthly basis. I want you guys to keep record of incoming and outgoing funds, meaning money that you're making and money that you're spending. I personally like to use a calendar, because it keeps the dates and everything. You can use a notebook, notes in your phone, whatever, you're comfortable with, but that's going to help you create, keep track of that. Next, you need to create healthy habits. You need to create healthy spending habits. So I want you to get, if you are in a position to be able to get a bank account, you need to call and see which ones allow. But if you are able to get a bank account, that would be a step, or if not, a prepaid card would also work. Like, amazing. Get a prepaid
savings account, and a bank savings or checking account will also allow them to build a history.
It'll help them build the habits. And there's actually a lot of new, which, I didn't even include this, but there's a lot of new things where if, like with actually Experian's doing it now, to where, like, if you can actually log in with your bank account and it can track what payments you're making, and it can give you a credit boost with that. And that's very new though. That's very new. So with the kids, what I want them to do is go ahead and do that. Load the money. The idea is to load it once a month. Keep track of that. If you can get a card or get a prepaid card, load your monthly income on there. Use it to pay for a pre-planned event, because the idea is to do this on the same day. Just like you would make your credit card payment or your loan payment, you want to do the same thing. So go swipe your card once a month for ice cream or for a haircut or for a game. Reward yourself, I guess, and in the meantime, you're going to be building those habits. That's the second step. Now, also keep in mind, whatever income you make, you're only allowed to charge 30% or less. And I want you to do this once a month on the same day. Now, the third step, once you've got that in place, there are, like I mentioned, there's like Experian doing a thing where you can actually log in your bank account and it can boost your credit. If you're not able to get one of those accounts to a bank account where you can actually utilize that service, what you can do from there is, once you turn 18, you can apply for your secured or unsecured card. Now, this is where we're going to execute. This is where you pull the plug and you get the credit card. You get what you need to do, because you got to build the credit in order to get the bigger loans that you want when you need to purchase the car or the home, or not. So we're going to start right at 18 with building credit. The thing that most people start with that have no credit is a secured card. Okay. A secured card is a credit card with minimal risk to the banks because you fund the available credit. And what that means is they'll approve you for this credit card with their logo on there, but they want you to put a down payment, usually about $200. So if you put $200 onto the card, your credit limit is now $200. Use that, like I said, go spend it on a haircut or some ice cream or whatever you need to do to reward yourself once a month. After 6 months of making that payment consistently on time, at least the minimal balance that you need to pay, your secured card will now turn into an unsecured card in most cases, and then your balance, your deposit that you put on that card will be refunded back to you. And now the bank is going to take the risk. Let's move on to unsecured. So once you get into the unsecured credit card, that's the fun one. It's a card in which the bank funds available credit. Now, once you get this one, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to make your payments, only spend less than 30% of the available credit. You're going to make your payments on time. After 6 months of making your payments on time, you're going to call the bank and ask them, can I please increase my payment limit, my credit limit, I'm sorry. From there, that's how you expand. Now, let's say you get to the next phase of life and you need some more credit, you need larger amounts. From showing that history of building the credit, the constant increases, you should have no problem getting approved. Now, I do have something else listed here, which is a fun thing for some people, and I'll explain why. There is a way to actually get a credit card prematurely without, and that's basically being added as an authorized user. Now, some companies will allow a parent or guardian to add the child, as a second card holder, and that's being added as an authorized user. Now, thing closed out on me. Now, this benefits you because once you are added to their account, you now just inherited their amazing payment history and their excellent credit. But it's probably not the best for the parents because if you're not responsible, you're going to ruin that amazing history that they've built up. So that's an unpopular one for the parents. And yeah, if you're lucky, you can get that one. But yeah, it's risky, and at the end of the day, you really want to build yourself up. Okay. Now,
for being an authorized user, you don't have to be 18, right?
It depends on the company. It depends on the company. And some of them that do allow it, the age requirements are different.
Because I added my daughter as an authorized user on my credit card, but they didn't really ask for her social, so I'm not really sure it's being reported against her credit.
Okay. You can call and find out, and if they're not, you can request that it is.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah. Because there's really no law requiring that they have to report it, so sometimes we've got to call them and ask them to do it. Awesome. I hope you guys got a lot of great tips out of this one.
So there are a lot of questions here. There's a great question here, which I think we should answer. What is the difference between a secured credit card and a debit card?
Between a secured credit card and a debit card? That's actually a great question.
Yeah.
So with the debit card, chances are it's actually attached to a bank. And it's labeled debit because it's just checking. Now with the secured card, it's attached to a credit card company, and a lot of times it has the option of being converted to an unsecured card. So you kind of want to go that route. Now a debit card, there's no credit card benefits to it. Like sometimes even once you convert up to the unsecured, you can get cash back on your purchases, saving you a ton of money.
And a debit card really doesn't help you build your credit history, right? Because you're not really paying it off. See, your money for your debit card, when you use it, is coming from your own bank account. It's kind of like debiting from your bank account or removing money from your bank account. Whereas in a secured credit card, you put a certain amount of security deposit down, like $200, like Renee said, and basically you get the $200 to spend as a credit card. But the biggest advantage is you're actually building a credit history there.
Perfect. Yes. Yeah. And it's going to be reported on your credit reports that you have a $200 credit line. So, and once one person approves you and you show this excellent history, the next person that pulls your credit report and sees that, they're like, oh, I want you on my team too. You can have our card, you know, and it's just like, that's how you build. Okay.
There are some more questions, but we can get to it at the end. We'll get.
Okay. So now, benefits, you want to know why. Why do I need excellent credit? All I hear about is credit, credit, credit. Okay, benefits of excellent credit can lead to these things, but not limited to. So let's jump into these. The first one here is lower interest and insurance rates. Interest, you know, like I said, is what we pay the bank when they loan us money, and insurance rate is what we have to pay to make sure that, you know, we're protected and people around us are protected. We can't get out of it. We have to pay them as adults. But unfortunately, they actually look at your credit. So if you have the better credit, you want the lower rates because that's money out of your hard-earned time. You know, you want to do fun stuff with it. You don't want to pay fees. Okay. Now the next one is higher credit limits. This is important because a lot of you guys are going to college. You're going to be maybe moving away. You're going to be living life. And you want to have access to higher credit limits in the event of an emergency. You want to be able to access the most amount of funds because emergencies can be expensive, like car maintenance, you guys. Just because I brought this up, I'm going to mention this story. I went to college in 2003. I had a car. I did not have a cell phone. I bought a cash car, and it broke down. One found me $1,000 to fix it. The second time, $1,300 to fix it. So after they took my $1,000, I was broke, you know, and I was just like, you know what? I had to get credit, and you know, and I got approved for $300 when I really needed the $1,000. So, you know, you always want to make sure that you're prepared, you know, for the worst, and as long as you're in position to be able to access the higher amounts, you should be great. Doesn't mean you need to use them all. You just want to be able to access it. Now, another one is a dream job. Most people don't know this, but a lot of companies do credit screenings for employment. Most jobs with finances do credit checks. Again, there's that trust and responsibility that they want to see, especially dealing with money. Like, how well do you manage your own money? Also, the government jobs. They want to know that they can trust you, that you don't have any financial crisis at home when you're dealing with the government. Now, let's say you're thinking in your head right now, well, I'm going to be my own boss. I don't need to worry about that. Well, being your own boss, you know, you're going to start a business, right? You will need your personal credit to be in shape in order to start building business credit. So yes, your business could actually have its own credit as well, but you also need to have your personal credit in shape first. Now, let me move on down to the easier home buying or rentals. For people, you know, you're probably going to rent in college as well. You know, people with challenge credit, they actually have to require large deposits when they move in. So when you move into a new apartment, let's say they're like, yeah, you can move in here, but you're going to have to pay me $500 to $1,000 just in case, you know, just in case something bad happens. They hold that money until the end, and in the end, they'll use it either on repairs or fixes or whatever they need to and give you the rest back. But with excellent credit, you don't have to do that. With challenge credit, if they want referrals, like write down names and numbers of 10 of your friends and relatives, and we want to make sure that you're trustworthy. They're going to call them. They want to know your income. They want to say, well, can you print me some check stubs or your bank deposits? I want to make sure that you actually have the money. With excellent credit, you don't have any of that hassle.
Right. They might even need like a guarantor. Like my parents might have to sign on the loan or sign on the rental because you don't have good credit. Like I do that with my renters. If they don't have good credit, they need to bring a guarantor that can guarantee that they will pay if the tenant doesn't pay.
Yes, yes. And you know, not, people aren't willing to do that, really. You know, it's really hard to find someone to do that. Okay. Now, also, you know, that's covering rentals. Now, when you get to the age where you want to buy your house, you know, that's important, because just think about it. Where you buy your house is also where your kids will determine where they go to school. You know, your house is zoned in a certain area for them to go to a specific school. So as you get older, you're gonna, you know, your credit can determine where you live, where your kids go to school, what you drive, and that affects, it has a ripple effect, like who your neighbors are, who your kids grow up with, who, you know, just everything. There's so much to think about it just from this little score. So definitely you guys are doing the right thing by being here ahead of time. Now, the last one is my favorite. It is favorable card choices. You know, there's a lot of programs for people with challenge credit to get cards, but the way it works is they don't have the choice to do it. They kind of go in, fill out the application, and they say, okay, well, this is what you qualify for, and you got to pick. Your credit will actually give you the power to choose. So at this time, I want everybody to close your eyes, really, really close them, and just listen. And I want you to think of your dream car, your dream car. It's in front of you. Think of the color. Think of the style. Now, I want you to imagine yourself getting in the driver's seat. Feel the leather and the steering wheel. It's your car. Now tell yourself, I deserve this. I am responsible. Okay, I want you to say it one more time, but I want you to say it louder, and I want you to believe yourself. I deserve this. I am responsible. One more time, guys. And I want you to say it louder and say it like you're speaking to yourself and your neighbors. I am responsible. I deserve this. I want you guys to know the feeling of owning your choice and believing you deserve it. You have the formula to maximize your credit. You have the formula to shape and choose your life. Now, I hope you took notes, because I do hear that there will be a quiz. But before we do that, I do want to jump into the next script, which is some credit myths. So here are some credit myths that you'll probably hear growing up, and sometimes from trusted people. So, like mentioned earlier, there's just a large lack of education on this, because us growing up, we never had this education in our schools. So the first credit myth, which I was like, what? I didn't know this. Credit bureaus work with the government. False. Actually, they are private companies and have no government affiliation. Okay. Not using credit cards means you will maintain a perfect record. False. In fact, you have no credit because you're not building any credit. There's some typos there, excuse that. You know, I've heard this many times, even by adults, like, oh, I don't have bad credit because I don't even use credit, you know, but that means you have no credit. So now you've got to build it. You've got to build it. Okay. Another myth. Only rich people have excellent credit. False. False. Actually, there are 68 million people who live with less than perfect credit from all demographics. All demographics, guys. We've got like our entrepreneurs who are risk takers, who are out here doing business after business and just credit and leveraging and doing what they can. And I just love it, you know. And, you know, credit is a numbers game. So they're using their credit and they're rebuilding it when they have to. So, like I said, credit is a numbers game, but there are 68 million people who live with less than perfect credit. And think of all the people who graduate from college with student loan debt, who don't graduate and then turn out rich the next day after you walk off stage, like I thought, you know? So there is a time period from graduation to where you actually build your income as well. Okay, now the next one, the myth is credit is impossible to get if you don't already have it. There are many programs available for people with no credit or bad credit to establish credit history. I did mention the secured card. I do also want to mention there is self-lender, which is actually, it's like a savings account, and this is just one of many resources, but it's a savings account where it reports as a credit to your credit report. You make a agreed upon payment once a month. It could be $25, it could be $80, and then you even pick the length of the time that you want to do it. So if you want to make $25 a month for a year, once that year is up, you've already, you've built your credit for a year, you've got that credit history, and they're actually going to refund you back that money. So it also works as like a savings account. So now you've got that money back, and that's really neat. But the tools are out there. Get with a credit consultant, if you need the extra education. And there's so many people willing to help. Now, this is a presentation, and I really enjoyed being here. I really enjoyed helping. I can't wait to answer any questions you guys have. But I do want to say thank you so much for your time. You guys are amazing already.
Thank you so much, Renee. So we have a few questions. Let's go through the questions. Does anybody have a credit score of 850?
People do, but do I personally know anybody? No, but I do know people in the 800s.
Yeah, I know I have like 825 or something. So yeah, I don't know about 850, but 825 is good enough. I'll take it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When can you get a credit card for the first time? What will the credit score start off with? Like, what credit score does someone start off with?
To start off with, it really varies, like, because you have those 5 factors, and everybody's 5 factors are going to be different for them. So to start off, I can't even give you that. There's no exact rate where you would start off, but you can't go bad unless you've made some bad grades.
Got it. So you can get a credit card for the first time on your own when you turn 18. You can get a secured credit card, but you can also get a credit card through your parents by getting added on as an authorized user, and you can talk to your parents about that.
Yeah. How
much is the increase after 6 months? I think he's referring to the credit limit increase. Yes.
And honestly, each case varies. So there is no certain score or certain amount. It's always like up to a certain amount or about a certain amount. But as far as how much it will increase, we don't know. Now, I can tell you one time, individual results vary, but I can tell you one time I added an account to my credit profile for a year. It was after a year. And I think it was like my rental history I reported, and I had them backdated, and it gave me like 68-point boost. Each case is different. I do want to note, which I didn't mention, that one late payment can lower your score up to 100 points. So those late payments hurt you more than anything. You just want to make sure you're paying on time to stay ahead of it.
Perfect. So Deepika asks, what if you pay the loan before the deadline? Will they give you good credit marks? So will it help to pay off all your credits, completely, your credit card?
Okay. So no, you want to keep a small balance on there, because remember, building credit is reporting your payment history. So every month you want to have something to make a payment towards. Now, let's say you're getting ready to buy a house and you need your debt to be low. You want to, definitely pay down your credit cards for that purpose. But as far as like building credit, you want to make a payment every month. And if you don't have nothing to make a payment on, that's when I was like, go get a haircut, go buy yourself ice cream. You want to always have about 7% utilization.
So let's say I charge the credit card every month and then I pay off the entire balance at the end of the month. I'm still doing the payment history, but I'm not paying any interest because I'm not carrying over balance from one month to another.
Right. So then you're right with that. So to avoid that interest, you want to pay it off. That's a good point. Pay it off, and then the next month, go ahead and charge it, and then have make sure you have something to charge for the next month. So.
Right. Put all the expenses on it, but pay it off. Treat it like it's a debit card, right? Pay it off. That way you don't pay your interest and you pay off all the credit. And the best thing is a lot of credit cards have cashback rewards, so you can earn those as well.
Oh my gosh, those are the best. Yes. And when you have excellent credit, you qualify for the best cards. We can get flights, like you said, cash back, you earn free stuff. Yeah.
Right. People want to give you a credit card everywhere you turn.
Yes. They're offering you. I mean, when you go to college, I don't know, they offer you t-shirts and pizzas and all kinds of stuff to apply for their credit.
Right. I remember those. How much does closing an account affect you?
It'll affect you. It'll lower your score. And at that point, what I would suggest is for you to go through a credit repair program to have that entire account removed. So it's like when you have your report card and, I didn't complete that class, so now I have the F in there. You don't want that on there. You're going to try to get that removed, go talk to the principal, whatever you need to do to get that removed so that you can put something else there that has an A. It's kind of that idea. So you don't want to close any accounts. It doesn't look good. It'll lower your score. And then the next step would be to have that entire account removed off your credit report.
So I want to add something there. When I came here to this country, I was 22 and I had a credit card when I first came here, and I closed the credit card. It actually impacted my score because it also, remember, the length of your credit matters too. So closing your oldest accounts can actually hurt you. So I always joke with my friends that I have a lot of credit cards. I just freeze them. I don't use them. I just like
Exactly.
because I want to keep the length of the credit going, and then I use some cards to do the payment history and keep accumulating my score up, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What is revolving credit?
So revolving credit, like I mentioned earlier, it's like that revolving door at Cheddar's. If you've ever been there, it's those doors that you push and you can walk in a circle if you don't exit. So revolving credit is a credit card or any accounts like that to where you can actually just keep using it and using it as long as you're making your payments. That means that the credit limit never ends. You will have a credit limit, let's say $1,000, which you're not going to be using. $1,000, you're going to be using less than 30% of it. But once you pay that off, you still got that limit there. Versus installment, where once you paid off, a certain amount, that credit is gone and you just got to pay off the rest. But the revolving is just like a credit card. The short answer.
Yeah, and I think we talked about car loans and mortgages, guys. Those are installment. They are for a fixed period of time, and revolving is not fixed period of time. It's like as it comes, like a revolving door. Can you be the holder of your parents' credit card? Absolutely. We talked about that. You can be added as an authorized user on their card if they want you to be added. Let's see, what if you pay before the time you're supposed to pay? Will that increase your credit score?
It won't necessarily increase it. There is I don't know if it's fact or myth, but there is a hack I'm going to share with you guys, where if you make 2 payments a month, that it'll report twice, and that could possibly increase your score faster. So they're saying if you do it like on the 1st and on the 15th, and then it'll report twice. I don't know if that's true or not, but paying it earlier than it's due is actually recommended because you want to make sure that that your payment processes and it's reflecting in your account, because sometimes payments can take a day or 2 or 3 days to process. So paying it beforehand is recommended, so it's processed, the bank already sent over the money, it's in there, and the payment's complete. And then when they go to report to the credit bureau, it shows it's paid.
Yep, that's a good point. So yeah, I recommend not paying it early. You can pay it off every month in full, like we talked about. So the only reason you want to pay it off full, so you don't get charged exorbitant interest rates, because credit card loans I mean, credit card advances come at a very high interest rate. Even when you swipe your credit card, you might be paying 10% a month or 10% a year interest rate, which you don't want to pay. Sometimes it's as high as 20. So it's a great idea to pay it off in full, but don't pay it early. Just pay it when it's due. Will the bank take away your account if you don't use them for a long time? That's a good question. I've had that actually happen with me. I've had a few banks close my credit cards because I haven't used them, but
Yes.
some others haven't. So it depends on the bank. I don't know what your experience is, Renee.
Yeah, they will definitely close if you haven't used them.
Okay, I think
I'm not sure the time frame, but yeah, it'll be at least a year, I think.
some of them don't. Like Citibank doesn't close your accounts. I have a card for 9 years or 10 years now. They haven't touched it, though I don't use it. But Bank of America closes out your cards if you don't use them for a certain period of time. We are doing a quiz. Let's get to it. We don't have much time. All right,
Okay.
guys. Thank you, Renee. If you want to hang in there, we can. Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. I'm excited. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you for being here, and really appreciate you sharing your insights and your experience with everyone. So here we come to the scores. I mean, the quiz time. Please go to joinmyquiz.com. You can see the screen here. And code is 523553. Hopefully I still have it on. Let me see. I started it before, so just make sure that I still have okay, I see everyone joining in. I'm gonna wait. Does anybody need the code? It's 523. I'll type it in the chat box as well. Joinmyquiz.com. The code is typed in the chat box. I see only 14 people on, and let's see how many people are on the Zoom call. Katie, you need to go to joinmyquiz.com and type 523. Okay, let me share my screen so folks can see it. Here you go. That's your code. I'm sharing the screen right now. You should see the link as well as the game code. And I want to see more kids on there. I see about 20 people on there. There are more than double of that in the call right now. So we have at least 58 people the last I checked. Now 42, never mind. All right, I'm still waiting. Sanjeev, I don't know, what can't you see? I am sharing my screen and you should be able to see the link. Joinmyquiz.com. Code is 523553. I'm waiting for 7 more kids. I see 42 on the call and I see 35 in the quiz. All right, 36 now. I'm missing 6 people. Mike Litvinenko, are you able to join? There you go, Kaushik, type the code and the link. Okay, let's not worry about that. Let's ignore Ben. All right. I'm missing 5 kids, so but I'm gonna get it started, okay? All right. Are you guys ready? Go. So there will be two prizes today, a $5 gift card to Starbucks or Steam or Amazon. I don't know, whatever you guys can pick. The winner gets to pick. And I'll do one for a middle school kid and one for a high school kid. Middle and elementary. James that won last time. I like that, James. Once you're done, please raise your hands. Use the raise hand button on the Zoom call so I can tell when you're anywhere. And most of folks are done. I'll wait for everyone to get done, okay? All right. So please raise your hand after you're done answering all the quiz questions. So when most of you are done, I will stop the quiz. And we can go through it really quick. I have another call to be on and then actually which I'm running late for. So I'm going to wrap up in about 5 minutes. Good job, guys. Kaushik, Anirudh, Arya, Anya, and Mihir. You're in the top 5. Does anyone finish already? Please raise your hand. Okay, I see 2 people raising their hands. Did I miss anybody else? All right. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you 2 more minutes and we're going to wrap up here. Kaushik, are you done answering all the questions? Yes, okay, Kaushik's done. Anirudh, are you done answering all your questions? Okay. Urjit, Arya, Anya, are you guys done with all the questions? Anybody who's not done, okay, raise your hand if you're not done. I'm not seeing any hands go out. Let me see. So Kaushik, are you in elementary or high school? Middle school. Okay, cool. Middle, sorry, that's what I meant, middle. Okay. Anirudh, you're in high school, that I know. So I think we're going to wrap this up. I don't see anybody else coming to the top of the leaderboard. So Kaushik, we gave you a gift card for middle schooler, and Anirudh, you'll get a gift card as a high schooler. Please send me an email after this, and my email is kavitha@cherrystreetinvestments.com. Send me an email and I will send you a link to a gift card of your choice between Steam, Amazon, or Starbucks. So quick, you want to quickly go through this. Applying for a credit card. Am I sharing my screen? Let me make sure I'm sharing my screen. Applying for a credit card only affects your credit score if you use the card. The answer is false. It affects your score once you apply for a credit card, okay? It doesn't matter if you use the card or you don't use the card. It can impact you negatively if you don't use the card because you're not creating a payment history. You must carry a balance on a credit card to build the credit history. False. You don't need to carry a balance. You can pay it off in full every month when it's due, but make sure you don't pay it too early. So it gets reported to the credit bureau. Payment histories account for, what's the answer? We talked about this. Anybody? What percentage of your credit score is your payment history? 35, yep. 35, a big chunk of your credit score is accounting for your payment history. A lot of people got that correct, so great job. Which of these show your credit score, credit history? It's credit score, credit report, and both. The answer is both. Credit report also shows your credit history. So credit report is essentially contains your credit score and more information about your credit score. Student loans impact your credit score. Absolutely true. Any kind of loans will impact your credit score. So there's report as well as score, guys. There are two different things. Your report, a score is a part of your report as well. So, but your report has more details about your payments and everything, okay? Race and gender are factors in a credit score. The answer is false. It's not. Capacity to pay will be taken into account when you apply for a credit card or loan. Absolutely true, because basically the lenders are saying, what's my risk in loaning money to this person? Do I trust this person? How have they acted before? Have they paid on time? If all of that is true, then your credit scores help the lender trust you more. So the answer is true. How can someone between 18 and 20 establish credit? You can do car loan payments or debit card or paying with cash, however parent pay. Obviously car loan payments, because now you get a car loan and you pay it, you're establishing payment history, right? And debit cards don't help you because it's just removing money from your bank account. Paying with cash, not a good idea, right? You're not building any credit. Having a parent pay doesn't help you again. Which of the following is one of the 3 nationally recognized credit bureaus? It's Equifax. These are not credit bureaus, obviously. All of the factors below affect your score except the answer is GPA. Like GPA doesn't affect your credit score. You might be excellent at school, but if you don't establish your credit, then your GPA is not going to help you establish that. Your payment history, your amount owed, and the length of your credit history all matter. If Bank of America issues you a credit card with a maximum balance of 1,000, this is an example of a credit limit. They are basically saying you have $1,000 to spend on this credit card, so they're giving you a limit. Which of the following may request your credit report? A bank giving you a car loan, your employer, your landlord, all of the above. And the right answer is all of the above. They want to make sure that you can get the loan when you give you a car loan. Your employer wants to make sure you're a responsible person, and your landlord who definitely wants to make sure that he can get paid or she can get paid. What type of credit score is 570? We talked about the ranges. Under 580 is poor, okay? What is an exceptional credit score? Anything over 800, 750 to 850 is a good credit score. So 813 is exceptional. How often should you review your credit report? It's very important that you review it at least once a year to make sure that someone else is not using your credit. There's something called identity theft, and you want to make sure that you are taking care of your own credit. Closing card accounts that display a positive payment history can damage your credit score. And a lot of people got that right. That's true. You don't want to close long running accounts which have good payment history. Your credit score is made up of all of the following except how much money you owe to the lenders, your mix of credit. Remember, mix of credit is a revolving and installment accounts, your current salary, length of the credit, and the answer is current salary. It doesn't matter how much you're making. It has no effect on your credit score. All of the following are ways a credit score can be established for someone with little no credit except, and the answer is Venmo account. A Venmo account is not going to help you create a credit history. Everything else here does, okay? What type of account qualifies as an installment account? We talked about installment versus revolving accounts. So a car loan is an example of a fixed amount that you have to pay over a certain period of time and you finish it off, right? Like a car loan. That's an installment account. Revolving accounts like credit cards usually come with higher interest rate than installment accounts like car loans. This is actually true. Because if you have a car loan, you might get a 4% interest rate, depending on your credit again. But if you have a credit card, it might be 9 or 20. It can be high. So credit cards usually get a very high interest rate. So you don't want to carry a lot of balance on your credit card. And that's it. Just a quick share here before I let you guys go. I know a lot of people have dropped off already, but I want to share the next week's assignment really quick, and then I'll let you go. Where is my presentation? Okay. So best assignment for this week, sorry, not for next week, but for this week is to talk to your parents about their credit score and what are the, look at what their credit score looks like. Ask your parents to see their credit report, and all of them can pull it up for free. Most of the bureaus will allow your parents to pull them up, theirs up for free, and it will not hurt their credit to pull this report, okay? So please do that. See what factors, you can actually go through the factors and see what affects them positively or negatively. What kind of credit utilization do they have? Like how much of their credit are they using? Talk to your parents to come up with a plan so you can build your own credit before you go to college. Come up with a plan, okay? So really quick, it'll be a last poll and you guys can drop off. This is just a poll to see what you think about this session. You can answer this and that's it. You're free to go. We just want to make sure that you guys are learning from these webinars. So that's why we do these polls. So we want to make sure you're understanding what we're doing here and it's not kind of flying over your head. Okay. Thank you all. I appreciate your feedback. You guys have a great day. Okay. Thank you so much, Renee. If you're still on, thank you for being on. Thank you for your time and for sharing your thoughts with all the kids and your experience.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.